A lot of musicians dream of getting onto cruise ships. I personally couldn't wait to get off. You've probably imagined cruise ship life as the dream. Travel, savings, performing every night. I thought the same, and for a while it genuinely was. But there are things that nobody tells you before you sign, and these things I only understood after 4 years working on cruise ships at sea. This is not the usual kind of videos that I do. I usually talk about how to get hired on cruise ships because I genuinely believe this is a real opportunity for musicians. But I also think it's important for me to share the real honest stuff, not just the highlights of it. So by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why I left. And more importantly, whether the things that broke it for me would even matter to you. Because for some people, they won't, and for some other people, they're everything. And the thing that I didn't see coming is that the thing that broke me wasn't the schedules or the itineraries. It was what 4 years of performing actually did to my relationship with music. A lot of musicians just assume that if you love performing, then you'll love performing on cruise ships. And I'm just here to tell you it's not automatically true. Cruise ships are not for everyone. Just before we get into this, if you're here trying to figure out whether cruise ship life is actually for you, I made a free self-check quiz for exactly that. It's free, the link is in the description, and you can do it before you even finish watching this video. So you might be wondering how cruise ships ended up breaking my relationship with music and in what way. And what happened is that on my first contract, I got really excited. I knew it might be long sometimes to perform for hours a day, but that's genuinely what I wanted to do. And I was so passionate about music that I couldn't imagine a world where I wouldn't enjoy performing. But the reality hit after the second or third contract, where I really started getting tired of having to show up every single day. Not only musically, vocally, and instrumentally can get really tiring, but also emotionally, like having to show up every single day in front of an audience. At the beginning, it was really enjoyable. I was really getting on with the audience, building a relationship with them. But after seeing them leave cruise after cruise, I started feeling like I was just being a robot and not really a human being that was building connections anymore, because I always had to say goodbye. And so I think I wasn't really performing anymore from my second contract. I was just doing my job. And that made a huge difference in how before working on cruise ships, I would go to music because that was my passion. I would pay to play literally on venues, and I would never think of it as a job. After a couple of months at sea, I was already thinking, hey, why would I even practice in my cabin if I'm not paid for it, if I don't have to play as part of one of my sets? Now let's talk about the lifestyle, because from the outside it can really seem like freedom. You're traveling the world, visiting beautiful places. But the problem with this is that when this ship life becomes your whole life, then you have nothing to get back to on land. And it's just as if you go on holidays for a whole year and that this becomes your life and you don't have a home to go to. So it's not holidays anymore because it literally becomes your life. Then for me, it really started feeling so empty. I just wanted to have a routine, to build real relationships with friends, maybe with a partner, to have a cat, to have a flat, to have a home, and to have the freedom to eat whatever I wanted to eat and to even clean my flat in the way I wanted. Because don't get me wrong, it's amazing on the ship that you don't have to cook, to clean, to buy groceries and these kind of things. But the truth is that as human beings, we're not made to be served all the time and to be treated like royalty. And I think these small things of daily life are extremely important, and also having a sense of purpose where you know that what you're building is aligned with the life that you're envisaging. And for me, I started working on cruise ships in my early 20s, so I knew I had a lot of time, but still I was like, if I don't start thinking about the next step now, when am I going to? And I could see so many people who spent decades on cruise ships, and I just didn't want to be them. Not that I think it's not the right thing to do, because everyone has a different purpose, everyone has a different idea of how they want to live their life, and that's completely fine. But for me, I really wanted to build a family. I really wanted to settle down and to have a real life and not a fantasy life where I'm traveling everywhere and being served all the time and being treated like royalty. So for me, really, it wasn't just burnout. It was really something deeper, not only on the professional level where I needed to feel like I'm building something that will have a real impact. And I think performing every night for cruise passengers is great, but for me, it was a little bit like, hey, I'm performing in front of drunk crowds and people had a good time with me. Maybe they will remember me, but I wanted to have a deeper impact and to work in a way that compounds over time, and I wasn't free to do this on the ship. And so I had to face the uncomfortable truth that what I really wanted was a life on land, even if it was the most uncomfortable thing that I could even imagine, because I didn't know what I could do apart from performing, and I was even sick of music. So the whole thing, the lifestyle, the job, the everything, the social environments on ships, I got sick of everything, and I knew I had to go back, but I just didn't know what the next step would look like, and that was so scary for me to do. Now, if you're watching this and you're thinking that you'd love to know more about what it's like to be working on a cruise ship as a musician, how much do you get paid, what solo musicians actually earn, how long even is a contract, what you actually come home with, it's all broken down in the free guide that I created for you. It's an honest breakdown with a self-check, and it's free, and it's in the description. You can grab it right now. Now, I think it's important to mention that even though cruise ship life was not something that I could have done for decades, I don't think it's the same for everyone. I've seen a lot of crew members and musicians who have been doing this for years. Like, they started before I started, and they are still working on cruise ships right now. And I really think it's about personality as well. And I really want to make the difference between my personality traits and my needs in my life, in my professional life and in my personal life, versus the needs and the personality traits of someone who could enjoy being on cruise ships. I think the first thing for me is that I'm not a huge fan of traveling. Like, I'm very lucky that I've been able to see lots of places in the world thanks to work on cruise ships and being paid as I was visiting everything. But I'm fundamentally someone who needs a home base and who really works well with a routine. And for me, always being in different places is not even satisfying to me. I'm not a huge fan of traveling. And so I know a lot of people are, and if this is the truth, then there are always more contracts, more itineraries, more places to see. And if that's an important part in your life, cruise ships can really be good for you in the long term. And so a lot of what I said here wouldn't apply to you if traveling is actually a priority. Now, the second thing is that for me, I really wanted to settle down with a family and like build deep friendships and these kind of things. But this is just my vision of it. If you're someone who is really social and who can make friends in 2 seconds and who doesn't really care about building a family, etc. I mean, especially if you're a woman, there's a timeline for it, unfortunately. If you don't have this thing of, hey, I really want to settle down, to build something with someone and to face real life, the cruise ship lifestyle might actually suit you better. And the third thing I would mention is your relationship to work and to music. I've seen musicians who actually really enjoy performing 3 or 4 hours a day, even though sometimes it can be a lot, but that's where they feel fulfilled, and ships can be perfect for this because you can save so much money even just over a decade of working on cruise ships. Like, it's insane. You can save for retirement and because you don't have any expenses. But for me, I knew that money was not the most important thing for me. I knew that I really wanted to feel fulfilled and to feel a sense of purpose and to feel like I was building something that was having a big impact and that I was growing over time. And even though as a cruise ship musician, you can improve yourself, you can get better contracts, you can even transition to being a headliner, there's still limited growth in terms of how much you can grow. You're pretty much in a bar every day for a couple of hours at a time. And so I knew that for me it wasn't okay, because as soon as I had managed to get my first cruise ship contract, which was a huge goal for me, I just wanted the next step and I wanted to build something different. And I felt quite stuck in this job. So if I was you right now, I would just ask myself, like, would I be okay always meeting new people, traveling different places and having, the Instagram life a little bit? I think it just really depends on your personality, and you probably know deep down if you'd be satisfied with this life for the long term. And if you're not, it's okay. Like, I knew from the beginning that I might not do this forever, but just a couple of contracts changed my piano playing, my performance skills, my singing, and my entertaining skills so much, and even my personality. Like, I changed as a person. And so it's okay to think, hey, I'm just going to do this for a while so that I can get to the point where I want to go to and then go back to land. So cruise ships are really a good opportunity, I think, for musicians to develop their skills, to become professional, and to even transition to bigger opportunities like being a headliner, or to have more experience so that you can do gigs on land, etc. But ultimately they're not for everyone, and I think it can give you so much relief and peace to know that this is not something you're going to be doing forever, even if you're actually choosing to do everything in your power to get a contract right now. And so after watching this video, if you're still thinking, hey, I actually really want to do it, I understand everything that Lara said in this video, but I still think that's the right path for me, it probably means this is really truly your next step and that you're the right kind of person for it. And the next step for you would be to think about how you can get to your first contract. And I built a course called How to Become a Cruise Ship Musician, which is built exactly for this purpose. And I really wish I had this course when I started, because this is not a world where you know these things. You can't Google like how to put a reel together for cruise ships, and there's so much about this world, about how it works, about how it is to live on board, about whether it's actually for you or not, and about how to apply the best way, whether to go directly with cruise lines or with agencies, so that you can get the best contract. I've put all my knowledge and a step-by-step process in this course, and if you are interested, the link is down below. There is a launch price for the first 20 people who enroll, so go and have a look, and do not hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. So if you're enjoying listening to someone who has been inside this industry and who can give you an honest picture of it, feel free to subscribe, as I share videos like this and also practical videos on how to get on cruise ships. Now, I'd love to know from you if there's anything that you've always wondered about cruise ship life, but you've never really seen answered honestly. I would love you to let me know in the comments so that I can respond to you through a video or just in the comments. I read all of the comments. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.